Welcome to my personal finance course. I'm Tom Mihawk, and this is the chapter on careers and personal finance. Now, this is important because this has to do with how you obtain the assets that you need for financial security, how you generate income, and those things are critical parts of financial security and improving your financial lifestyle. The career part, we also in the real course, we spend time on resumes. I've done a lot of work with resumes with students. I'll meet with students on a weekend, maybe for 5 or 6 hours straight, students every 20 minutes. I've developed a real practice in working with students and with professionals. I enjoyed, high school AP English. I like words. I like reading. A resume is like the best words in the best places. It's like a poem. And I'm also an engineer, so I see, the pictures that are crooked in a room. I can't help it. So I look for the design of the resume too, the white space, the black space, how the sections work, where the words are set up. And so I've done a lot of work with resumes. My resources are at Instagram, Resume Optimization, and at my website, tommihawk.com. I have a Twitter site too, Resume Optimization. And I'll use some of these resources as part of our course. It's not part of this video, but it's part of the course. Those of you who are watching this video as part of my courses. And those of you who are watching that are found this through YouTube or through other resources through the web, you can also go to those Instagram, Twitter, and my website too. Resume Optimization and tommihawk.com. By the way, the website has other career information, interviewing, and career support, as well as support for my current courses. We also will work in the course on interview skills. I had the good fortune when I left undergrad, I had 4 job offers. It turns out I was good at it. And I'm sure the market then and the economy then and my undergrad major and my university helped. But I developed some skills that enabled me to generate 4 offers. My business school summer, I had 5 offers. And again, I did develop skills that helped me be able to do that. And so I share some of these skills with students in my courses. And if those of you that are watching this as part of my personal finance course, you'll benefit from this as well. So this is a key chapter and a key part of the personal financial planning process. So career selection, progress in your career requires planning and ongoing effort. The ability to earn income may be most people's greatest asset. Think of it. If you're earning $50,000 a year at a reasonable 5% rate of return, you need $1 million in principal to generate that $50,000 a year. That's $1 million asset, your ability to generate income. A job is an activity that generates income by providing services or producing goods, generally for someone else, sometimes for yourself. But you generally think of a job as working for someone else and producing goods or generating services for someone else. A career is a profession that many jobs may relate to, like working in finance, maybe teaching, requires continual training, doing financial advisory or offering insurance advisory services. All these I do. Job changes are more common today. Many still view longevity in one job as preferable. But movement for the right reasons is much more accepted today than it was in the past. And I've even had people say to me, I like that person who's been in multiple jobs, who took a year and went back to school or went abroad and studied abroad or something like that. Or went abroad and lived abroad and worked, because I like what they bring to my company. So job changes are common. Many view longevity as preferable, but movement these days for the right reasons is much more acceptable. Career skills, technical skills, refer to skills related to specific professions. You might obtain these through formal training or on the job. General skills are things like formal education, college, graduate school, law school, and they're useful in a broad variety of work environments. Personal factors matter too, like your aptitudes. What are you good at? Your interests, what do you like to do? Your personality, are you introvert, extrovert, for example? Both can do very well in careers. And your preferred work environment. Do you like high-low pressure, oversight, intellectual content? Do you like to be stationary? Do you like to travel? Do you want an informal or a formal environment? Do you want to work for established goals or establish your own? Do you want to work for a company that has an existing reputation, or build your own? If you hand someone a card from Deloitte or McKinsey or Google or Goldman Sachs, people know, they have an idea anyway, your professionalism, your intellect, your ability to present in front of a group. They presume with those companies that all those skills are high. Where in a small company, you may have more flexibility, you might make more money over the long term, but you still have to prove your reputation. Now, if you founded Facebook or Apple or Google, Uber, you're talented and you can speak well and you have a high intellect. But people don't know that when the company's just starting. Let's take a look at Steve Jobs and this discussion about whether your job should be passion, a job where you do what you love to do, don't worry about what you make, maybe, versus a job that's more practical and do what you're good at. So let's see what Steve Jobs has to say.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion.
So this is Steve Jobs' view. If you don't love it, you're not going to stick with it. And someone like Malcolm Gladwell, wrote the book recently, not so recently, and he points out this idea of 10,000 hours of doing something to get good at it. And if you don't like it enough, you won't do it for 10,000 hours or long enough to get good. So, passion for something matters. Because if you don't stick with it long enough, you won't get good at it. Let's take a look now at Mark Cuban and how he feels about being practical in your jobs.
Don't follow your passion, follow your effort, right? So you might think you're passionate about playing basketball, playing the guitar, drawing, design, whatever, but where you spend your time is your better indicator, because that's typically what you're good at. And nobody ever quits anything they're good at. For sure. When you're good at something, you tend to want to get better.
So Mark Cuban is pointing out that if you're good at something, you'll stick with it. Jobs said kind of some of the same thing too, but the point is that Cuban's pointing out, do something you're good at. And if you're good at it, you'll stick with it. But it may not necessarily be your passion. And that's the point here. The dotted line shows the bachelor's degree median lifetime earnings. And each of the balls compares earnings for someone with less than high school degree, high school diploma, some college, associates, you can see them all, master's, doctorate, professional, and how they do relative to the median lifetime earnings for someone with a bachelor's degree. The point is that education and earnings are correlated. It just says that, on average, the only ones that on average earn more than someone with a bachelor's degree are the master's, doctoral, and professionals. And associates, some college or no degree, high school diploma, or less than high school, don't earn as much as someone with a college degree, a bachelor's degree. So, and that's partly why education is so expensive these days, is that there's this correlation through a lifetime between educational attainment and earnings. Now, in the some college no degree is Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Bill Gates, Microsoft, Steve Jobs, Apple. Now they're in the upper portion, but all the others are in the lower portion. They're not working. They're not founding Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple. So in order to improve your chances and make them best, you're best getting a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, or professional degree. Your lifetime earnings by educational attainment is shown in the chart to the left. Gives you an actual amount. Professional degree, $3.6 million. This is from the Georgetown Center on Education in the Workforce. It's a study that many use for this information. But look at earnings and unemployment rates by educational attainment. Your unemployment rate for a doctoral degree, very low, 1.7%. This was 2015. And it continues to go up. It's very low for professional degree, master's degree. So not only with more education do you make more over time, studies say, but your chance of being unemployed, or maybe your unemployment is very short by comparison to someone with less than a high school diploma, for example. If we were looking at this in most of our texts, we'd have like a circle. And getting a job involves assessing your personal skills and interests, researching job opportunities, looking for fit and opportunities, developing materials to submit for assessment like resumes, cover letters, the projects you've completed, your deal list and descriptions, things like that. Interviewing face-to-face, phone calls, video, more common these days, other in-person meetings that lead to, like networking, that lead to successful employment. When you have an offer, evaluating compensation, benefits, negotiating for improvements. I've helped people do that. I've helped students do that, get better opportunities, better offers, higher comp, and I'll share some of that in this next segment in this chapter. Executing on the job, maintaining awareness of your career direction, and making adjustments and changes. And for the future, adjusting, updating, and then repeat the process, starting with number 1 here. So this has been the first segment in the Careers in Personal Finance segment. Thanks for watching. This is the Personal Finance course. I'm Tom Mihawk. We'll be back with segment 2 in just a minute.